All right, hey everybody. So we're going to take a look at bouncing a mix to disk. I have a reference mix here. I want to take it out and listen to it in the car and on the phone and on different speakers and things like that. Kind of reference it around and see what sort of things stand out or what I think might need to get worked on next. So, what I'm going to do to start with that is define the space in time, in other words, that we want to actually export from this session. So, I have memory locations already set up. This is where the song starts. If I play it from here, we got that going on, and then the ending is about here. Not much going on there. So, just to kind of safety this a little bit, I'm going to scoot that ending a little further along and select from that spot. Okay, so that now that we're at the end, I want to hold shift as I recall my start point here. Okay, so if we do that, it's going to select from the start to the end. And when I hit play on my selection, I've got a little bit of time, a little lead before the song actually starts. And that's kind of what I want here. So we're going to do a couple different things. First, we're going to do a regular bounce to disk for our streaming audio, something like SoundCloud or YouTube or something like that, which means we're going to leave everything at the same bit depth and sample resolution as we have it in the session. There's no need to take that down. But I also want to burn a CD to go out and play in the car, so I am going to need to alter things a little bit in order for that to happen. So first and foremost, I've got everything selected. So now we're going to go to File, Bounce to Disk, which is Option Command B. And once we hit Bounce to Disk, in the Bounce to Disk dialog box, we have a couple things that we can adjust here. First of all, the bounce source. Now, this is the actual interface that will be playing the bounced audio. Okay, so on my system, that happens to be analog 1 and 2. You might have DAW out 1 and 2. You might have it called monitors or control room or studio, whatever it is that actually carries your mix to your monitors and outputs it from your interface. That is going to be the bounce source. As far as file type, we want to leave this as a WAV file. The format, we definitely don't want it mono, and we don't want individual left and right channels to work on later on. We want to leave this interleaved, have a single stereo wave file when it's all said and done. Okay, we're going to leave it at 24-bit because that's the session, but our session is not in 96 here. My session right now is in 48K, so I want to make sure that that stays the same as the bit depth and the resolution for my session that it is currently in, because I do want to import after bouncing. Okay, so this is the name of the song, and this is definitely not a final mix. This is going to be mix 01 because this is just a little quick reference of the instrumental. I don't even have vocals up in it yet. So the directory that we're going to choose is going to be in our bounced files folder for this original session, where that session lives. I've already got a mix 01 in there. So it's going to ask if I want to replace it, and yes, I do. And now we'll just let that finish bouncing and rendering in the box. Okay, so that's all done bouncing. And now the import option dialog box is going to pop up because I chose to import it after the bounce. And I'm going to import this as a new track, and I'm going to locate it at the selection so that it's actually going to be in time and in the same spot as the rest of the mix, because I want this to be a reference that while I finish working and mixing further into the song, then I can solo it and I can play it back and see where I was. Yeah, because I want to be able to tell, am I doing something good in as I continue this mix or whatever. And this way I can mute or solo just this old mix, or I can hide it if I want to not worry about it anymore. But for now, I'm going to use this already bounced and re-imported mix as a starting point for bouncing my CD version. Okay, if we're going to do a CD version, we need to take it down to 16-bit from 24-bit and take it down to 44K from 48K. And before we do any bit resolution reduction like that and go from 24-bit to 16-bit, we need to do a dither. Okay, so what I need to do is get my inserts available here. And as an insert on this track, I'm going to choose the old standby of Maxim. Okay, Maxim is kind of a great little option. It comes with your install of Pro Tools initially, and it's a basic limiter and has dither, and it can just kind of do a great job of just creating a CD ready version of the track here. So what we're going to do is kick dither on and turn noise shaping off for this, but we'll leave it as a 16-bit dither. Okay, then we kind of want to find a louder spot in the song, probably somewhere in the middle here, and we're just going to drop the threshold until we get rid of some of the headroom that we left available for stream. Okay, so you can see it started getting louder and we started getting some attenuation over here. I really don't want to use too much gain reduction here, so I'm going to back this off a little bit and I'm sure that'll probably be fine. So now the dither is applied through Maxim and the threshold is down low enough that the track will play a bit louder. But the ceiling is there at minus 0.3 dB just to kind of give a little bit of leeway safety in case it misses kind of a high transient or something that it's not going to end up clipping and end up in digital zero. Just a little bit of insurance there. Okay, so now we have the wave file selected. We are soloed on our single mix track, so we can go ahead and command Option B. And that brings up the bounce to disk dialog box. This time we're leaving everything the same except our bit depth and sample rate. We're now going to make this 16-bit. We're now going to make this 44.1. And I'm going to change the name of this bounce so that this tells me this is a 1644 bounce. We're going to just hit bounce offline. Oh, and you notice our import after bounce is no longer an option here because now we've changed the bit depth and the sample rate, made it different from the session. That makes it not compatible. So we're going to go ahead and bounce this now. And it's going to replace the one that I have already created previously. So now we'll just let that bounce and we're almost there. Okay, that's all done bouncing. So now let's jump over to the Finder and find our session folder and take a look in our bounced files folder, and there we go. So we have our initial mix that is full 24-bit 48K sample rate. Then we have our 16-bit 44.1 that we can burn this to CD, and then take our Mix 01 up to SoundCloud and play it from there, throw it on a flash drive, take it around, do whatever you want to do on a digital system that'll deal with a 24-bit 48K stereo file, whereas our 1644 is ready to go, and we're just going to burn that one to CD. So there you go. Enjoy.